She slammed her car door and screamed, "You hit me! I'm calling the police!" while snow was still falling hard around us. My plow truck was parked, engine off, blade down, lights blinking. Her SUV sat sideways in the street, fresh scrape on the side, right where she had slid into my blade. I didn't say much. I just watched her point at me like she owned the road. She said I was illegal, that HOA rules banned plow trucks, that I would pay her deductible today. My phone buzzed in my pocket as she yelled louder, making sure the neighbors heard. Then she leaned close and whispered, "I run this block." That's when a tow truck rolled past. Slow, and she smirked like she already won. I looked at the snow piling up, then at my dash camera still recording, and thought one thing. This wasn't the accident she thought it was. She stood in the snow waving her phone, telling dispatch I was a danger to the neighborhood and that I refused to give my insurance. I stayed in the truck, hands on the wheel, letting her talk. A few neighbors cracked their doors open. She loved that part. She told them I was some hired guy tearing up HOA streets, that her car was totaled, that her kids could have been killed. Then she walked over and slapped a bright orange paper on my windshield. "HOA violation," she said. "Truck banned. You move it, you're done." That's when she crossed a line. She glanced at my back seat where my kid's backpack was, still there from school, and said loud enough for everyone, "People like you shouldn't be driving around children." My jaw tightened, but I didn't react. I just tapped the dash cam so it beeped, and her smile faded for half a second. She didn't know it yet, but every word, every lie, every threat was already saved. And the real cops she called? They weren't far anymore. Red and blue lights washed over the snow, and her voice changed fast, soft, shaky. She rushed toward the cruiser, crying about her car, her money, her rights. I stepped out slow when the officer waved me over. Karen cut me off, saying I was unlicensed, not a resident, that this was private HOA land. She handed over her papers like they were gold. The officer looked at me and asked one question. "Is this your truck?" I nodded. Karen jumped in. "He admitted it!" "He hit me." I pointed at the snow tracks, the angle of her tire marks, the blade sitting still. Then I said, calm, "Sir, before this gets messy, you might want to see the video." Karen laughed, short and sharp like it was cute. "Dash cams don't matter in HOA cases," she said. The officer didn't smile. He took my phone, watched for 10 seconds, then paused it. He rewound, watched again. Karen's face drained as her own SUV slid straight into my parked blade on screen. The officer looked up slowly and said, "Ma'am, why did you tell dispatch he hit you?" Snow kept falling, quiet now, and for the first time she had no answer. She started talking fast, changing the story in real time. Said the video was edited. Said I moved the truck after. Said the HOA already fined me last. Winter and I was known. "Trouble." The officer raised a hand to stop her and asked for that fine. She froze for half a second, then pulled out her phone, scrolling hard, pretending it was loading. That's when another cruiser pulled up behind the first one. Different officer, older. He looked at my truck, then at the plow blade, then at me. His eyes narrowed like he recognized something. "You plow this county route?" he asked. I said yes. Karen snapped, "He has no right." "HOA rules." The officer cut her off. "Ma'am, this road isn't HOA, it's county maintained." She laughed, nervous now. "That's impossible. He..." pointed down the street at a buried sign, barely sticking out of the snow. "We pay him to keep it open." Her mouth opened, then closed. I stayed quiet as the second officer asked for her ID, and then asked why she had reported a false hit-and-run on a public road. That's when her phone slipped from her. Hand into the snow. She bent down fast to grab the phone, hands shaking, snow sticking to her coat. "This is harassment," she said, loud again, like volume could save her. "He hit me. I want his insurance now." The older officer didn't move. He asked me if I had footage. I reached into the truck and pulled out a small card. "Dash cam," I said. "Front and rear." Karen laughed. Once. Short. Sharp. "Of course he says that." The younger officer took the card and walked to his cruiser. Minutes felt heavy. Karen kept pacing, calling someone, whispering my name like it was a threat. Then the officer came back. Face changed. He looked at her and said, You accelerated into his blade. She snapped. That's a lie. He turned the screen toward her. You could see her car slide, then jerk forward. Clear as day. No sound, just truth. The wind pushed snow across the road while she stared at herself on that screen, trapped in her own move. And that's when the officer asked, "Do you still want to press charges?" Her face went pale, but she didn't stop. "Fine," she said, pointing at my truck. "Then tow his junk. He's not even allowed to plow here. HOA rules. That line did it." I felt my jaw tighten, but I stayed calm. The officer looked at me again. "Do you work for the HOA?" I shook my head. "No, county contract." Karen froze. "That's impossible," she said fast. "This road is private." I reached behind the seat and pulled out a folded paper, edges worn from use. "Emergency snow access agreement," I said. "Signed by the county and the original landowner." Her laugh came back, louder this time, but it cracked in the middle. "That landowner died 100 years ago." The officer unfolded the paper slowly. He read the name, then looked at the address. "Same road, same stretch of snow." He raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am," he said, calm but firm, "this road predates your HOA." Karen stepped back like the snow itself had shifted under her feet. She whispered into her phone again, but this time her voice wasn't sharp. It was scared. She tried to change the story fast. "He hit me on purpose," she said, louder now, waving at the dent on her bumper. "He slammed into my car and laughed." I didn't say a word. I just reached up and tapped the small camera mounted on my windshield. The red light was still blinking. The officer noticed it right away. "Does that thing record?" he asked. "Front-rear audio," I said. Karen's mouth opened, then closed. Snow fell into the silence between us. The officer asked her again, slow this time. "Do you still want to file a report?" She crossed her arms. "Of course I do." That confidence lasted about 3 seconds. The officer walked to my truck, watched the clip, then called his partner over. They didn't look at me after that. They watched her. On the screen, her SUV slid sideways. Her wheel turned sharp, and she slammed into my parked Plow. No horn, no warning, just impact. In the video, her voice was clear, too. "He'll pay for this," she said right before she hit me. The officer clicked the screen off and looked up. "Ma'am," he said, "you just filed a false report. On video." Karen took a step back and whispered, "That's not how it happened." The officer shook his head once. "It happened exactly like that." Karen's face went pale when the second officer asked her to turn around. The cuffs clicked, soft but loud enough to cut through the snowstorm. People came out of their houses, phones up, whispers spreading fast. "She hit his truck," someone said. "She lied to the cops," another voice followed. The officer told her she was being cited for false reporting and reckless driving, and that the insurance claim would go against her, not me. Her HOA badge slipped from her coat and fell into the snow. No one picked it up. Later that week, her insurance called me to apologize. My truck was fixed. My Plow was replaced. The HOA sent a short email saying Karen was no longer representing the community. No name. No excuses. That night, I plowed my driveway, slow, clean, perfect lines. My kid stood at the window waving. I waved back and smiled, finally breathing easy. Funny thing about snow. It melts. But the truth? That sticks.